Hello, everyone, and welcome back to where I give my predictions on the Senate outcomes in the upcoming 2020 Senate elections going on across the great United States in this upcoming election. And we have now reached another state where I feel confident making a prediction. And that state is the state of Mississippi, a seat currently held by Cindy Hyde Smith. And Hyde Smith was appointed to the Senate in 2018 to replace Thad Cochran, who retired for health reasons, and Mr. Cochran would pass away in 2019. In the special election that was held in 2018 that went to a runoff, Mrs. Hyde Smith won by 7.26 percentage points of the vote. And so she will be running for a full term this time. In 2016, Donald Trump won the state by 17.83% of the votes. So, a very impressive victory for Mr. Trump there. And I have no doubt that Donald Trump will have little trouble carrying the Magnolia State in the general election. It may be smaller than some other southern states because of the large African American population in the state of Mississippi. In fact, percentage wise, Mississippi has the largest African American population in the country. And they are very reliably and heavily Democratic. But Trump will have no trouble carrying the Magnolia State. The Democratic nominee is Mike Espy. He was the candidate in 2018 that faced off against Mrs. Hyde Smith, and he is a former congressman that served for 6 years from the state of Mississippi and served for about a year and a few months, almost 2 years, as Bill Clinton's first Secretary of Agriculture. He would later face trial on corruption charges, but he would be acquitted of those charges, and a trial that was just a very bogus trial. And many people have observed the trial should have never been brought. They were really thin charges that were brought against Espy. His opponent is the current senator, Cindy Hyde Smith. Prior to being appointed to the United States Senate, she held various political positions in the state of Mississippi, and until 2010, she was a Democrat. But seeing the trajectory of Mississippi change politically, she switched parties and became a Republican. A quick note here on the primary results. Mississippi, like some other states, still has a very high percentage of their voters who are registered Democrats, and that is mainly for local elections, and they'll vote in those local primaries, or they may not even be registered Democrats, but they'll vote in the Democratic primary because that is the general election for their local races. And when the general election comes around, they'll vote for Republican candidates for federal office and statewide office. So, about 268,989 voters voted in the Democratic primary, or 53.32% of the vote. 235,463 voters voted in the Republican primary, or 46.67 percentage points of the vote, of the ballots cast in the respective primaries. Uh, I have no doubt that just like Donald Trump is going to carry this state, that Cindy Hyde Smith will be elected to a full term in the United States Senate. This will be a Republican hold. Um, if the Republicans lose this seat, they've lost everywhere. They have had a bad night, and they have washed out um, everywhere. So Cindy Hyde Smith will be elected to a full term in the U.S. Senate.